Jai Jain everyone. I welcome you all to this new lecture series called Point of View, which we will learn about Nischay and Vyavahar, Nay, which we have already learnt through several scriptures, through several pustak by different Gyanis and Acharyas. But we have summarized this entire whole and soul concept of Nischay and Vyavahar Nay in this module. So today is the first lecture of this first module of Point of View, and we have invited Anubhav Bhaiya, who have been associated with us since a very long time on this portal, conducting different lectures on different topics. So, before I hand over the mic to Anubhav Bhaiya to start today's topic, I wanted to introduce you all to the people who have joined for the first time today. JEEV is Jain English Education and Values. This is a beautifully designed portal specifically for the people who wanted to learn Jainism in English. And we have designed the curriculum in such a way that you can easily go to the portal and get access to all the basic topics to advanced topic. How you can access these, how you can access these lectures, resources, I'll get back to you after the discourse of Anubhav Bhaiya. So let's come back to today's topic, which is Nischay Vyavahar point of view. When we talk about point of view, that is something which is most beneficial topic to understand both in terms of dharam adhyatma. This is what our real agenda is, but also when we think about uh, the daily activities, we talk to somebody, we go for shopping, we bargain, or we talk to our friends, we crack jokes amongst each other. Everything is dependent on the point of view. If you're cracking a joke of one of your friend, everybody is laughing and the person is hurt, which means he didn't get your point of view because you were just making fun to have some kind of entertainment, but maybe he didn't get that. So all these things are very basic, but how the real point of view and the conventional point of view work, why we are learning this topic, everything. Anubhav Bhaiya is here to explain. Uh, we are here with him, and he is the expert for today. So over to you, Anubhav Bhaiya. You can start today's discourse.
Jai Jain everyone, let's join our hands and have the Manglacharan. Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayariyanam, Namo Vajjayanam, Namo Loe Savvasahuram, Anantadharmanastatvam, Pashyanti Pratyagatmanah, Anekantamayi Murtir Nityameva Prakashitam. Today we are going to discuss real and conventional point of view. As Harshal has mentioned, whenever you are making any joke and someone is not able to really laugh and find the point in it, probably he hasn't understood the point of view you were having or the humor you were having. When we think about the point of view, this is such an important aspect in every aspect of our life that unless we understand the context, unless we understand the point of view, we are having fair chances to really misunderstand the thing and probably miss the context, miss the gist, what other person is trying to convey. So, are you saying that I'm not having that much understanding or the common sense that I cannot really make out what exactly the context the other person is having or the what point of view other person is having? No, we are not saying that. Rather, we are saying that you already have this basic skill set available with you. And every now and then in our whole life, we really utilize the point of view, frame of reference, in our daily routine. And probably This is the reason why this world in Hindi is called as dunya. Du means two, niya means nay. So in this whole world we have two nay. That is why this world itself is called as dunya. And those nay are having, in our today's discussion, we are going to discuss about Nischay and Vyavahar nay. Probably you can have one more set in from the Janagam, which is Dravyarthik and Paramarthik nay. But I hope you got the context, like why this world is called dunya, because everywhere in this world we are using the nay, we are using the point of view. Be it any statement I'm going to make, it is having nay itself. And this is where the that particular um, skill set comes into the picture. What hasn't been said, we read, we infer that particular part, and we will learn about what exactly the frame of reference in which we are putting this point of view. There are two point of view you are able to visualize in this picture. One is the real point of view, which is directly seeing or directly telling about the thing which is in front of us, and the other one is the conventional viewpoint, which is not directly going to the point, but rather step by step trying to reveal or trying to reach to the ultimate aim. So that is where this two point of view comes into the picture. uh, in this whole series we are going to have the understanding about the na and importance important facts about this point of view, and what exactly the conventional and the real viewpoint consist of. And then we will be having a bit of comparison between the two, and then the difference between the two, and probably then we are going to have some common queries and all. So let's start with the introduction part. When we are talking about nay, what exactly it is? So from partial truth to complete understanding, this is our goal, right? And reality is multi-phased. um, every substance has infinite attributes and modes. This is what the reality is. This is what the real world we are living in. every Everything which is in front of us, we cannot completely define it in a word. Rather, we need definition is one of the thing, but also other part comes into the picture as a knowing. So you must have heard in the previous sessions we have different type of knowledge, five different type of the knowledge, starting from Mati Gyan to Keval Gyan. So the one who is Sarvagya is having the Keval Gyana, is having the power to actually perceive all aspect of reality simultaneously with absolute clarity. But we being Matigyan and Shrutigani, we don't have um, that power of grasping every aspect simultaneously. Rather, we have the power to really go one by one. So, because of this particular limitation, so grasping one aspect at a time through sensory knowledge, Matigyan, or scriptural knowledge, which is Shrutgyan. So, Matigyan, Shrutgyan itself is having that particular limitation that we cannot really make out every aspect of the whole thing in a word or so. So then this particular phenomena comes into the picture, that be it Matigyan or Shrutgyan, rather we will go in detail of the Shrutgyan itself. So Shrutgyan has got two aspects. One is the Pramaan and another one is the Nay. What Pramaan is, you are completely understanding that thing in one shot. And then what Nay is, the the actual one shot picture you have seen in your Shrutgyan, holistic picture you have seen. Now you are going to the one aspect of w- that particular picture, and into detail of it. That is where Nay comes into the picture. So two terminologies has been introduced now. Number one is Pramaan, which means you are having the holistic view about that particular thing which we would like to know. And Nay is whatever you have completely or holistically understood. Now you are going into the detail of it by having the one aspect of that particular thing at a time. Now, why all these things are coming into the picture? Because this world and the six substances in this world, every substance itself is having that multi-faced. That is why to know that particular uh, thing, and in this whole context, to myself basically. So I would like to know myself completely, but one acharya is trying to provide the knowledge about it, try to present mine attributes. Now there is a limitation that every aspect of myself cannot be really conveyed in one sentence. So that is where the aspects comes into the picture, that they need to take help of Nay. They need to take help of Syadvad. So now the new terminology is coming into the picture, Shadvad. What this is? Expressing the multi-faced nature of reality is achieved through a formal argumentative system known as a Syadvad. Shad means with one point of view. Vad means telling about that particular thing. So I'll introduce one more terminology here. When we say multi-faced, which means anekant. Everything in this world is having the nature of anekant, which means multi-faced. Now, to show that particular multi-faced properties of that particular thing, we need a tech, uh, system which is called Shadvad, or we need a technique of telling or presenting that anekant uh, Vastu Swarup is called as a Syadvad. Uh, in example, I would say Anekant is the core property of the thing, and Syadvad is the spokesperson of that particular uh, property, right? So then, where Nay comes into the picture. So if you have heard sutra called Pramaan Nyai Radhigama, and probably you may be struggling with the relevance, why exactly I should learn Nay. I'm perfectly okay. I'm living in this dunya, and I, as you mentioned, I'm already know the Nay, and I really make out the frame of reference and all. Why exactly I should learn the Nay and all? So then, very interesting sutra comes from Tatvar Sutra Ji. The reference is Adhyay 1 and Sutra number 6. The whole Tatvar Sutra Ji has been started from the theme that how exactly I can be happy. So then Samyak Darshan Gyan Charitrani Moksha Marga comes into the picture. What is this Samyak Darshan? Tatvar Sriddhanam, Samyak Darshanam. What are the what are the different type of Samyak Darshan? Tannisarga, Digmadva. What exactly this Tatvar Shraddhan is? So then Tattva comes into the picture. Then Jiva Jiva Shroban Savarnizra Mokshas Tattvam. How exactly we know them. uh, then this Dravya Bhav, uh, Nam Sthapna Dravya Bhav, Tastanyasa comes into the picture. Then to know these tattvas, to really present these tattvas, if suppose Acharya Dev is on the transmitting end, I'm at the receiver end. So the transmission which is happening from Acharya Dev to me, in this whole transmission, what exactly will be the carrier? How exactly, what will be the technique of this transmission? Today we are living in the world of telecommunication and the world of signals. So you know that whatever you are listening, my voice you are listening, this is not transmitted as a voice signal anywhere, right? This headphone, this microphone is capturing the sound waves, and the sound waves is now getting converted into the electronic wave. Then these are getting converted into the digital uh, series, and then signals are getting transmitted to optical fibers or maybe telecommunication towers, and then satellite, and then you are probably sitting into another country, and then again this reverse engineering is happening, that digital signal is getting converted into the, again, the electronic, and then electronic to the sound wave, and that is where, that is how you are actually listening this voice, right? So this whole thing between the transmitter and the receiver, the similarly, and this transmission is called errorless, error free, when when whatever I have spoken from here, the same words has been really uh, decoded at your end, right? Decrypted at your end, then only it will be called as a error free transmission, right? So one aspect, one side, Acharya Dev is sitting and they are having the complete picture of any thing or anything. Means now we will really come into the example of myself. They know the Atma very well, right? Now they would like to communicate to us that what exactly this Atma is. Now that communication mechanism is basically going to happen via Pramaan and Nay. So Pramaan and Nay are the method of putting the uh, putting the knowledge into the words, putting the knowledge into the knowledge, and at the receiving end, Pramaan and Nay is the technique of reading this text and then understanding um, what exactly the image or the knowledge of this particular thing, or the real knowledge which Acharya Dev is having about this particular thing, right? So I hope with this analogy you have now understood that uh, this Nay Praman is basically a mechanism of a transmission. Syadvad is a mechanism of transmission. This is a system of transmission where one is knowing the absolute truth, and then to really communicate that truth, knowledge of truth, uh, they need a mechanism, and that mechanism is basically coming out as a nay, by saying that I'm telling one particular point of view, one aspect of this thing at a time. So then nay comes into the picture, and whatever I'm saying, whatever I'm seeing, is actually having a point of reference, frame of reference. That is where Shadvad comes into the picture, right? So this is what the need of the Nay, uh, because Vastu itself is a bit complex. It's have the multi-phase, and words are having the limitation. At the same time, Mati Gyan, Shruti Gyan is also having a limitation to know one aspect at a time. So making this aspects together, we are framing the whole full picture. Similarly, I'll give you another example. The screen which you are able to see right now, actually it consists of many pixels, right? One pixel at a time is getting put in, for example, and it is put in so fast that we are able to see the full picture. I'll not go into the uh, digital technology much, but just to let you know that this full picture which you are seeing at the moment on your screen, it is actually um getting framed every lesser than the microsecond. This is continuously changing, and this is the basically this consists of, for example, your camera is having 16 megapixel. So 16 megapixels, these many pixels are there in that one picture, right? uh, and then each of that pixel is making this whole bigger picture. So each of this Nay is making basically whole bigger picture of the vastu. This is, we are coming from the one reference point where picture is getting created, right? Because I'm at the receiver end. But from the transmission end point of view, if you'll see, Acharya Dev is having a very clear picture about anything which they are trying to convey. Now, each time one pixel they are putting together, they are transmitting, we are understanding, we are making it out. Now, if you don't understand this pixel mechanism, this Nye mechanism correctly, what could happen is one pixel is coming to me, I'll understand this is the whole picture. But that is not the whole picture, that is a part of picture, right? So that is where this whole concept plays very important role to really have a patience, really understand the thing, and be generous that there is many uh, aspect available which we may be unknown to at this moment, and we need to really understand when Acharya Dev is trying to explain that part. So are we truly understanding the Jain scriptures? Any scriptures, any line is anything in the world, any statement is really need a understanding of the frame of reference, is really need a understanding of what is the point of view in which this statement has been said, what exactly this statement is trying to convey. So similarly in Jinvani, if we don't understand the mechanism of this uh, communication, we are going to be fall into the bit of misunderstanding, right? So scriptures are not difficult, but we are missing the language and the connotation in which they are written, which is Syadvad. Jainagam are composed in Syadvad, which is depiction from a specific standpoint. Every statement highlights one aspect of the reality, not the whole. If you see this picture from front, if I project throw the light and the shadow which is going to be make out.
Sorry, Bhaiya, are you sharing your screen?
um yeah, let me
We
share.
can't
I
see.
Yeah, sorry, I thought
Visible,
it
visible.
was shared. Yeah. So in this particular picture, if you see, if I throw the light from front and it is making the shadow as a triangle, is this a true picture of this object or not? Similarly, if I come to the front, another side view, we are having it as a square. If we have the top view and put the light, it is having a circular view. Now, really, what this object is it circular? Is it triangular? Is it square? And now we may be puzzled ourselves, like it is circular as well as it is triangular, it is squarish, perfectly okay. We are to shortcut, we say that it is all of three. But all of three from which point of view? Is it circular from the front? No, it is circular from the top. So now the another point of reference is coming into the picture. From which viewpoint it is what? So there are two things now. One is a viewpoint and another one is what it is. It is circular, perfectly okay. But from what viewpoint? From the top viewpoint. It is triangular. From what viewpoint? From the front viewpoint. So knowing that it is circular, knowing that it is triangular, knowing that it is squarish, is is not a full picture. We also need to know that from which viewpoint it is like what, right? Unless we understand that, we will not be able to recreate it, or we will not be able to understand this object the way it is at the moment, right? So similarly, from the Jain scriptures point of view, we really need to know Nay and Pramaan, because the whole Jinvani has been uh, presented in the form of Nay Pramaan and the Shadvad Shali. The very basic thing is any programming language, for example, Python, if you don't understand the syntax of it, you will not be able to make out, right? Similarly, if you would like to be expert in the English language, you need to know the grammar and the structure, or very basic thing is the alphabet of it, right? Similarly, the Jain philosophy requires the understanding of Nay. Without Nay, you are not able to really make out anything. Rather, you are having a fair chances of misunderstanding the thing, missing the context, and instead of really having the Sukhi life, we can really fall into the uh, 180-degree opposite side of it. So now let's understand the point of view versus comprehensive knowledge. So one is a point of view which is Nay, and another one is the comprehensive knowledge which is Pramaan Gyan. So as we discussed just like right now, Acharya Dev is having a Pramaan knowledge. They know the full thing, right? Now, when they try to convey, it is hard to say that um, or hard to define that particular thing in one sentence. So that is where the Nay comes into the picture. A valid but a partial viewpoint at a time is given. For example, whenever we have understood this, uh, how to speak, how to write English language, remember that maybe uh, our junior KG, senior KG class, what exactly was first introduced to us? Alphabet, phonics, right? And now in this age, we are very fluently speaking. We are really um forming the sentences, writing the paragraphs, understanding, talking. But all these things, whatever we are doing, is actually consist of those basic knowledge which we were having. So a valid but a partial viewpoint was given to us in the junior KG, senior KG, maybe class 1, and forming those 12, 26 alphabets of English language, or 52 alphabets of Hindi language, and then understanding, making them comprehensive. We are having the holistic knowledge about the language now, right? So at a time, a valid but partial viewpoint is given, and that partial viewpoint is basically coming out from the Pramaan Gyan itself. So the person who is telling us, a person who is giving a partial viewpoint, that person itself is having the Pramaan Gyan. But that complete picture Acharya Dev is having, and in this transmission, now I need that complete picture. So Pramaan Gyan Acharya is having, Pramaan Gyan I am what quest for, but in between Nay coming into the picture, where he will also be using the Nay to communicate. I also be at the receiver end will use this a partial viewpoint, partial viewpoint, partial viewpoint, and this partial viewpoint combination of the partial viewpoint will form a final comprehensive picture. A very basic example has been given here is a woman may simultaneously be a mother, daughter, wife, artist, etc. So being that mother, daughter, wife, etc. doesn't have any sequence, it is simultaneously available. Knowing that simultaneously is also not a problem for an expert who really understands this mother, daughter, wife, and artist aspect. But one child uh, who is seeing her as a mother only, is he right or wrong? A child is also right, but only thing is that if child is only and only seeing as a mother that she is my mother, nothing else, then this becomes a mityanay, kunay. But at the same time, if child also know that yes, from my point of view, she is my mother, but at the same time, from my father's point of view, she is a wife. At the same time, from my grandmother point of view, she is a daughter, right? So if this understanding is also available back of the mind, then this particular aspect becomes right. But if we are missing completely the other aspect, then this is also not called nay. You may have an argument that I am first time hearing that what is mother, so how can I have a complete picture? I'm in the process of making the complete picture. And you are telling me that if you don't have the complete picture, your one aspect is also wrong. These are the two contradictory statements, right? Unless, okay, till the time we are having that whatever I have understood, this is from one point of reference, this is one point of view, this is one from a reference, we are on the right path. As soon as I'm having the um, uh, misunderstanding that this is how the whole picture is, no other viewpoint exists, then we are on the wrong path. So forming this picture slowly, there is no problem. But have a cushion, have a vision, have a liberty that there are multiple viewpoints available. So knowing this particular process which we are discussing right now will give us the uh, really a vision, or allow us to be liberal in the sense like whatever I know from one point of reference, there could be another point of reference exist. So being that liberal is needed here. Okay, so let me be liberal. I'll be liberal for anything and everything. No. Liberal, you can be liberal only to the truthness, right? Whatever the qualities are really existing in that particular substance, I can be liberal to that particular aspect only, right? So she's mother, perfectly okay. She's, from one point of view, she's teacher, she's daughter, she's uh, friend of someone, right? So many different aspect is present. But she is father as well? No. Father property doesn't exist. I'm not talking from the soft property point of view that she is acting as a father. No, that's not what my viewpoint is. Father means biologically, is she father? No, she can be mother only, right? So liberal means not to that point that property itself doesn't exist in the thing, right? So that is where we are coming. A child is seeing her as a mother only, one viewpoint, and also having the thought process like whatever I know is not a complete picture. She is also having multi-phase. Uh, that is where the Nay comes into the picture, or that is called the Nay. And at the same time, seeing her in all her roles together, that is called the Pramaan Gyaan. So I hope now you have understood um, what's the importance of the Pramaan Gyan and the Nay Gyan, and what's the mechanism in which these two are fitting in, the transmission mechanism and all which we have just discussed. So this whole things is basically uh, acharyas are having some knowledge. That knowledge has been either came to his voice or maybe the written text. So point of view Nay is going to be now discussed. And this point of view or the Nay is basically um, formed of knowledge. It is, see, for example, I'm having this book, right? So this book is made of what? Made up of what? Paper. The core material is paper. Similarly for Nay, what is a core material? So the core material is knowledge, Shruti Gyan, right? How the Nay are formed? Nay is the paryay of knowledge, and specifically Samyak Shruti Gyan. The part of Samyak Shruti Gyan is known as a Nay, and Praman is also Samyak Gyanam Pramanam, Shrut Gyanam Pramanam. So now point of view, Nay is a specific perspective expressed from a particular frame of reference, Apeksha. So this we now understand, right? After gaining a comprehensive knowledge of a substance, when it is described with a specific purpose in mind, that purposeful partial expression is called Nay. So this ex, uh, the partial expression could be in the form of words, or this partial expression could be in the form of knowledge. So ideally it is knowledge. I'm also thinking about one aspect of that particular thing. I'm having chintan, I'm having vichar. That is also called Nay, right? And then the same thing I translate or communicate in the words. So Nay could be either mainly the form of knowledge or the form of the written text or vocal text, right? So now you understand where Nay resides. Nay is not part of anything. Things are not Nay. Things are things. But the only thing is how we express the property of that thing, how we know the property of that thing. That is what, that is where the Nay comes into the picture. So very basic thing I would like to really give you as a key is always Nay is going to be in my mind as a Vakta or in your mind as a Shrota. It doesn't exist in this laptop. When I talk about laptop, perfectly okay. But laptop itself doesn't have any Nay. Nay will always reside either in my mind, my language, my vocal, or in your mind, right? So where Nay comes, so in this particular example, in a classroom, teacher knows all student and their diverse ability. During the inter-school art competition, he selected only those highly skilled in art. Here is the evaluating student. Here he is evaluating a student for one specific perspective to fulfill a particular purpose. This is a practical application of Nay. So that particular person may be having the knowledge of maths as well and every other subject. But since the purpose of that teacher is to fill the position of art competition, right? So highlighting who is having the art uh, skill set and who is having, so amongst these students who is having the artist skill set, amongst the uh, various skill set as a person I'm possessing, what skill set exactly needed at this moment in time. So this is where the viewpoint is coming to the picture, right? Now very famous story, and this comes into the picture in terms of Anekant and Shadwad and Nay we are now talking about, right? So always frame of reference uh, is dependent. So Nay always should have the Apeksha. Unless you have the Apeksha, uh, the Nirpeksh Nay is called Mithya, means false. If you don't have any perspective, if you don't know the frame of reference, so that is why in the beginning we have mentioned, you know that it is circular, triangular, or squarish. That is one aspect. But from which particular frame of reference, that is also important. Unless we have the combination of two, and both of these are uh, in their true sense available, uh, it is not called Nay, rather it will called as a Durnay or Mithya Nay, because that is not giving us a clear picture or the clear knowledge how the thing is. So every Nay is valid only within the frame of reference. Without context, it becomes meaningless. Example is saying an elephant is like a rope is incorrect. We need to say an elephant's tail is like a rope is a valid example. Validity of this 10 points depends on the frame of reference. I'll just give you a simple analogy in a minute. Um, I'll tell, just take a piece of paper and I'll give you some instruction and draw the elephant. Okay. I'll tell you, I'll be missing the frame of reference, and you are free to draw, right? And deliberately, because you don't know, deliberately you try to change the frame of reference. So I'll say elephant is like an pillar. Now you make one uh, part of elephant as a pillar. Since you don't know which part is like a pillar, you may draw uh, his stomach as a pillar, his leg as a wall, his tongue as a maybe this soup, his ear as a uh, sweep. What kind of elephant is going to be draw? If we just mix and match the point of view, elephant will become distorted. Similarly, this signal which is transmitted from Acharya Dev and I'm at the receiver end, if I don't have the right frame of reference, the the context, the right context, whatever we are going to decode, that coding will be having a error, that coding will be decoding will be having noise, that decoding will not be having the right picture, right? So suppose this screen which is getting transmitted to you, suppose this particular part is transmitted to you and made reoccur at this point, this particular part at this point, what kind of picture is going to be made? Rather, every pixel at what location this screen is possessing, the same position is going to be painted at your side, then only it will be having a right picture. Otherwise, it will it can create something different thing, right? So that is where the frame of reference comes into the picture, that is called Apeksha. So this particular picture should be drawn at exactly at this location at your screen, then only the right picture is going to be painted. So with this example, the way Acharya Dev is seeing anything with one point of view, the same point of view we need to understand or translate, then only that will become the right thing. So the important fact about the point of view, Na is not the name of the substance or the activity. It is the way of describing, not the thing being described, right? That we have already discussed. Saying pure soul is a Nischay or austerity is a Vyavahar is incorrect. Describing the path of liberation as complete absorption in the self is a Nischay, and the describing as the it is as austerity, austerities and the woe is a Vyavahar Nay. So Vastu itself is not the Nay, rather the description of that Vastu, whether it is happening via, then it is called Vyavahar Nay, and when it is happening directly and the absolute truth is getting told, it is called Nischay Nay. We will be discussing about this in detail, but the path of liberation is defined in two ways: complete absorption in the self. This is called the Nischay Nay. From the Nischay point of view, path of liberation is defined as a complete absorption in the self. And from Vyavahar point of view, austerities and the woes are called as a path of liberation. In actual sense, woes are not the moksha marga. Woes are woes, right? Austerities are austerities. Absorption in the self is the absorption in the self. But to define it from direct view or the indirect view, that is what called as a Nischay or the Vyavahar. Similarly, we are having the uh, I think we are overrunning the time. I'll just complete this in a 2 or 3 more minutes. Components of the right scripture and the knowledge point of view are the component of the Samyak Gyan. Their complete and the true grasp belongs to the enlightened soul. Since they function through expression, they are also considered mode of language. So this way you know that Nay are formed of Gyan and language. Infinite in number, a substance has infinite attributes, therefore the possible point of views are also infinite. So substance, infinite attributes. If I see one attribute at a time, I have an infinite point of view to define that particular substance, right? In our daily life, we really use the na. This is from where we have started our today's session. Dunya is called dunya because we are having the two na in every aspect of our life. Um, we really understand that we naturally use the point of view everyday life constantly, often without realizing it. Example, we may be young from our parents standpoints but old from our child's standpoint, right? So at the same time, I can be seen, or I really understand myself as a young and old at the same time, but there is a frame of reference. Example, India is in the east from the USA's perspective, but in the west from the Japan or China's perspective. So this way we really use Nay in our daily life. How exactly these Nays are going to be used in our Jinwani or in our journey of the uh, spiritual enlightenment, spiritually knowing ourselves. So there will be coming next session we are going to discuss Adhyatm ke Nay, spiritual point of view. So that is where the real application we are going to put together of Nay. But holistically, today's session was more about understanding the importance of the viewpoint, how exactly we utilize this in our daily life, and what it is basically made up of. Is it residing into the thing, or it is residing into the one's knowledge and the language? And at the same time, we have seen that what is the important of frame of reference by making a picture or transmission mechanism. Um, we have seen the Pramaan and Nay. So in this way, you try to think about this particular concept, feel, learn, understand, think how exactly we are utilizing this point of view in our daily routine. And then probably in the next session, we are going to have a further discussion how exactly these are going to be helpful for us to understand the path of liberation and knowing the Sat Tattva, which is the very core of knowing the Naya. And one last thing, uh, one way lot many granthas has been written to really show the path of liberation and the Sat Tattva, etc. And at the same time, there are many Naya Chakra has been written to really decode how to decode Samayasar, how to understand Pravchansar, how to understand Niyamsar. There are many Naya Chakra has been written. So we are actually learning the grammar of the Jinwani so that we can understand uh, the whole aspect of it. So we have many Naya Chakras available like Param Bhav Prakashak Naya Chakra, Shrud Bhavan Deepak Naya Chakra, uh, uh, etc. So from that particular point of view, we have understood this whole concept. I hope uh, you will have a further thinking and churning about this whole concept. Over to you, Harshil.
Thank you, Bhaiya. Can you share your screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I think the as Bhaiya explained that to learn any of the language, to learn any of the pattern, you need to first know the syntax, the algorithm. Without the algorithm, you won't be able to crack the essence provided in the paragraph or maybe in a gatha, maybe in a shlok or a Sutra. So after knowing this introductory lecture, you must be aware of that how important these Nay are, how important to know these tools to understand the mechanism of transmission to happen in a very smooth way. And since our ultimate goal, everybody is aware of what is our ultimate goal. And to reach to that ultimate goal, we need to get the essence of the Jinvani, the essence of Divya which we do Swadhyay every day. So we need to get the essence of everything, every Gatha, what point of view is quoted there. So this is about that. We have learned about the mechanism of transmission, Shadvat, Anekant, what is Pramaan, what is Nay, and why do we need Nay? How do we use it in our daily day-to-day life? With the examples of elephant in the and with the example of shape of an object, we came to know about all these things. I think today it was just an introductory lecture. We will deep dive into the topics more in the further lectures in the coming weeks, and we will finish this topic in next two lectures. So till then, if anybody from the audience has any question from what we learned today, or any example, anything they wanted to add. Okay, no problem. So I think Anubhav Bhaiya, when we will get deep into the topic, I think people will be having more questions on the examples or maybe the subtopics which you will cover. Today being introductory lecture, we can wind up with this for today. Before we wind up, I wanted to share my screen and show the audience about this JEEV portal which I've promised in the start. Yes, I hope my screen is visible. So,
Yep.
Jeev, as I mentioned that on this portal, we have built a system where you must have learned about Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, and several other edtech platform where you do all of your professional personality development course or maybe sales course, marketing course, lead generation course. This is the most important course because we have translated Jainism, the different topics into English language here, and everything is very well designed, taking it from module each module from start level, beginning, intermediate, and then advanced. So first of all, you need to go to the JEEV website, www.jeev.net.in. Under the resources tab, you can navigate the topic you want to explore. It will pop up like this. You can see Char Mangal Part lecture is popped up here. Once you click on the topic, you will receive a link to access the course. This start access, you can see course overview is there where you can get to know about, let's say we have Nay course or we have the point of view course. So overview will be given here. How many hours lectures are recorded, that will be given here, and accordingly you can click on the course, access the course. Once you click on it, you will receive a dashboard like this, and here you will find all the resources such as articles, quizzes, even some Gurudev Shri lecture snippets. And also, if you are taking such lectures in your hometown, in your locality, you can use these presentations or articles to make people aware about all these topics. Let's say if you want any help from our end, if you want to understand these concepts better, if you have any queries, you can email it to us. We can help you connected to our expert, which is Anubhav Bhaiya, for this lecture. And to access these courses, you can also go to YouTube. Once the lecture is done, we upload every recording on YouTube, and there are a lot much there. This lecture series is just a part of JEEF portal, but there are a lot many things such as we are creating AI generated videos to make people aware on different principles, different gathas, different slok. Everything is in English, a very basic English for people to understand and remove the barrier of Hindi, Gujarati, or Sanskrit Prakrit language. So this is the real motive of JEEF portal, and today we have learned the syntax to learn Jinvani, which is point of view, Nischay and Vyavahar. It was an introductory lecture, and in the further lecture we will deep dive into all such subtopics of Nischay and Vyavahar. Anubhav Bhaiya, we can proceed with Jinvani Stuti.
निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है। इसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना शत बार है, वंदना शत बार है। 9 times नमोकार मंत्र। बोले द्वाद सांग में जिनवाणी माता की जय हो,
Yeah.
महान जैन धर्म की जय हो।
Thank you everyone. Thank you भैया. जय जिनेंद्र.
जय जिनेंद्र।